Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to generate a bid for a customer. So here we are at Evolar.com, and the first thing we're going to do is log in to the Evolar Rep dashboard. So I'm going to enter in my username and password. And it's going to take us to our dashboard here. We've got our training course, solar savings calculator, resources, lighting kit, builder, events, and commissions and promotions. So we're going to click on the solar savings calculator. So this is where we're going to take a customer when we first kind of pique their interest in solar. We've expressed to them that we can lower their monthly cost of power with no money down. And a lot of people have the question, well, what next? The next step is to take them to this app. So as you can see on the welcome screen here, it's going to walk them through a four-step process. First, we're going to analyze their power bills. We're going to see where we can conserve. We're going to generate, and that's meaning we're going to size a solar array. And also, the last step was we're going to save. We're going to wrap everything into, hopefully, a new monthly cost of power with no money down. So first thing we're going to do is enter in the customer information. We want to make sure we select the correct utility company. Most people will be Rocky Mountain Power, but if they're in a city-owned utility, we want to make sure that we select the correct utility. So in this case, it's going to be Rocky Mountain Power. Going to enter in our information as well as the rep. We want to make sure that we've entered in all these fields correctly before we go on to the next page. So the next page is basically a script that you can read to the customer. You can read this word for word to them, but basically all it's saying is that about half of a typical home gets their energy consumption from heating and cooling. 14% comes from water heating, about 13% comes from use of appliances, 12% from lighting, 4% from electronics, and 11% from other devices that consume electricity in the home. So just a kind of a good way to educate the homeowner that says, yeah, we're actually going to see, we're not just going to throw up a solar array to replace your power. We're actually going to see where your consumption comes from and see where we can conserve before sizing a solar array. So we'll click next here. Here we're going to answer a few questions about the home. If you see right here, we can click to actually open up a Google Maps view of the home. If we've entered in the address correctly, it'll pre-populate that. We'll click on the satellite image here and actually zoom into this home. So this home actually has a big south-facing roof. That's going to be ideal for solar. We can look at some of these neighbors and just so you can see what different types of roof faces there are. Here we've got a pretty clear southwest facing roof. Here's a southeast facing roof. Here's a good example of an east-southeast facing roof. And so we've kind of got a couple different classifications of roof faces. So we'll exit out here and we'll go back so we can see, we can select south, south-southwest, southwest, west-southwest, due west, or we could be south-southeast, southeast, east-southeast, or due east. We want to make sure that we select this correctly because that's going to play a big role in sizing the solar array, because roof orientation has a big effect on how much power the solar panels will produce. So in this case, we're a good due south facing roof. We're going to select what type of roof: asphalt shingle, tile, metal, or other. In this case, it's going to be an asphalt shingle roof. And then the pitch of your roof. The pitch has a lot to play with how much electricity the panels will produce. So as you can see, our options here, we've got flat, just be no pitch at all. Below average, a really shallow pitch to the roof, anywhere from 1 to 15 degrees. An average pitched roof is going to be 16 to 30 degrees. Above average, we're getting pretty steep now, 31 to 45 degrees. Or if it's greater than 45 degrees, we want to select steep. We want to make sure that this is accurate as well. So we're going to say it's a pretty average pitched roof. And then a few questions that the homeowner should know. Was your home built before 1980? No. Was your home built before 1940? In this case, no. Is there electrical service to the structure with the most ideal roof face? So in this example, we're actually wanting to choose a roof face that's going to be most ideal for solar. You could have two different roof faces in an example where maybe there's a home and the homeowner also has a barn or a shed or some other structure that could also be used to house solar arrays. Going back to our first question, we're talking about the most ideal. So where they actually want the panels. You could have a home that has a south-facing roof and a barn that has an east-facing roof. Well, in that case, we want to choose the home as the most ideal roof face because it's going to get the most sun exposure. So this question here, if we go back, is there electrical service there? This is going to be important because they might have a barn, but there's no service out there. They don't have any lights. They don't have a breaker. So that's all we're asking. Is there already electricity to the structure where we want to put the solar array? In this case, it's the actual home itself, so there is service there. Obviously, they have electricity in the home, so we're going to say yes. And is there piping on the most ideal roof face? Sometimes you'll see that there's actually plumbing pipes coming out of the roof face. And in installing a solar array, we'll actually need to cut those and cap those before we put the solar array. So we want to make sure that there's no obstructions there. If there are, it doesn't disqualify someone for solar, but we just need to make sure that we answer this question accurately. And this is talking about the main electrical panel in the home. Do you have a 200 amp service? Some homeowners know if they do or not. A 200 amp service is ideal for solar. But there's a lot of homeowners that just don't know, and so that's fine. We'll just say not sure. But if they do know that, yes, I do have a 200 amp service, it's kind of an upgraded, a more premium electrical panel, we can mark yes for that. And then do you have more than one electrical meter? You might have someone that runs irrigation, or let's say they do have a barn that has a separate meter. Well, we want to make sure that we get all the reads from all the meters. So I'm going to select yes, just so that you can see what pops up on the next page. This is where we enter in the usage. So since we've said there's multiple meters, in this red text it says make sure to add totals from all the meters. We're looking at 100% of the consumption on the home. We're not looking at just one meter. We want to know what's going on in the home, what's going on in the barn if they have one, if they have a separate irrigation system that uses electricity. So in this case, we're going to say everything's on 1 meter. That's going to be pretty standard when you're looking at homes. Most homes will be on 1 meter. So we'll go back to this next page. And we want to enter in a power history for the last 12 months. The reason this is important is because the usage is going to vary over the year. Most homes use the majority of their electricity in the summer months. That's because most people have a gas furnace and they're not running the AC during the winter. So they don't have quite as much consumption. They're running lights and different things, but they're not running air conditioners. And unless they have an electric furnace, they really don't use a whole lot of electricity when they run the heat. So that's why we want to get a good snapshot of an entire year. And that's how we're going to size the solar array to basically shoot for 90% replacement over the course of a year. If someone is a Rocky Mountain Power online customer, it's real easy to log in to the Rocky Mountain Power portal and download that usage history. In our resources tab on the user rep dashboard, there's a PDF that will actually show all the steps to downloading that power history from the Rocky Mountain Power dashboard. Since we've selected Rocky Mountain Power as a utility company, there's also a 1-888 number, a toll-free number right here, where you can actually call in with the customer, put it on speakerphone, and actually ask for a rep. This line is staffed 24/7. So it doesn't matter when you're meeting with the homeowner, you can always call in and they'll just ask the homeowner some questions just to verify their identity, last 4 digits of their social or birth date or things of that nature to release that information to you. And you can actually get this information on the phone with the Rocky Mountain Power customer service agent. So there's a lot of different ways where you can get this history. One way would be if they have physically have 12 statements, 12 paper statements of their power bill. That works as well. So you can get it online, you can get it from the physical paper statements, or you can call into Rocky Mountain Power to get this information. So there's a lot of different ways that we can get this information. What it's going to do is actually just run an average for the last 12 months. So we really don't need 12 data points if we already have a year's average. In this case, we're going to just plug in an average of 1,500 kilowatt hours. Now again, that's going to run an average over the course of a year. One month might have 1,000, another month might have 1,700. But in this example, looking at the past 12 months, the average has been 1,500 kilowatt hours. The amount paid in this case is $196. And again, that's going to vary just like the kilowatt hour usage over each month. But since we're just running averages anyway, we're just going to plug in the average for the entire year. We've got a button right here that says Assumed Annual Utility Rate Increase. On the resources page, there's also another PDF that talks about the utility rate increases in Utah. Historically, it's been about 7%. It's projected to be 10% or more over the next decade. And that's annual, 10% per year over the next decade. But just for purposes of giving a fairly conservative number, but still shows a lot of savings. 6% is pretty good, but you could even ask the homeowner what they feel utility rate increases will be in the coming years. So we'll use 6%. And then you also want to get their account number. If they're Rocky Mountain Power, like they are in this case, it'll show on the online portal. It'll show on their paper statements. Or if you have that customer service rep on the phone, you can ask them what the customer's account number is. So we'll enter in the account number. And then we'll select Next. Here's another script that you can just read to the customer that talks about the second step in the Evolar process, which is conserve. A great example is to say that putting solar on a home that isn't energy efficient is like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. Where we're a little bit different than other solar companies is we try to conserve as much energy as possible. And there's two things we include in our solution that can reduce a customer's power bill by 30% with no change to their lifestyle. And that is with a Nest Learning Thermostat, and the other is with LED lighting. So a Nest Learning Thermostat is a programmable thermostat, but it's actually a self-programming thermostat. It makes it really easy to set your schedule, it'll learn your behaviors, and it'll run your HVAC equipment at the least amount of electricity that you need to still stay at the temperature that you like it. The Nest alone can reduce your power bill by as much as 20%. There's also an app where the homeowner, once installed, can control the thermostat from their phone as well. They can also see how much they're saving compared to their neighbors. The other tool that we use to help conserve energy is with LED lighting. If you remember from the first graph, an average home spends 12% of its consumption on lighting. LED lighting uses 1/8 of the power of a regular incandescent bulb and half the power of a compact fluorescent. Now, the compact fluorescent bulbs are the spiral bulbs. These have become a lot more popular in recent years, but again, the LED is about half of what even the CFL or the compact fluorescent bulbs use. The other great benefit with LED lighting is just how long the bulbs last. They last an average of 20 years, which in some cases is 20 times longer than a regular incandescent bulb. So you don't need to replace bulbs as often. And most importantly, it's using a lot less electricity to get the same amount of light. So now that we've educated the homeowner a little bit about what we do to help conserve, we're going to ask them a few questions. The first is, do you have a Nest Learning Thermostat? If they already have one, obviously they're already seeing the savings of reduced consumption, so we're going to answer yes. In this case, they don't already have a Nest Learning Thermostat, so we'll include that in the solution. How many heating and cooling zones do you have? Some people have separate thermostats for the upstairs or for the downstairs or for all three. So you really won't see more than 3 thermostats in a home, but you could see up to 3. Typically, everything's on one, but a lot of people do have a separate thermostat for a basement or an upstairs. In this case, everything's run on one thermostat. And then we're going to ask the homeowner how much of their home's lighting is LED. And it's just kind of rounded to the nearest 10. So 10%, 20%, 30%. We're going to say that none of their lighting is LED. And then we're going to ask the homeowner to estimate how many light bulbs they have in their home. 30 is pretty standard. 30 to 50 is pretty average. You will see people that have a lot of lights. So again, you're just asking them to estimate and round to the nearest 10. In this case, we're going to say that they have 50 bulbs in their home. Then we're going to click Next. Now we come to the generate part. This is where we actually talk about the solar array. And again, this is a script that you can read word for word to the homeowner. As you become more comfortable with it, though, you can kind of summarize some of these points. The main takeaway is looking at the system components. There's 3 main components to a solar array. You have the actual panels. Panels take the photons, the actual light that hits the panels, and converts it to DC power. There's a microinverter that's attached to each panel that converts that DC power to AC power. And AC power is the power that's used in your home. So basically the photons hit the panels turn those photons into DC power. A microinverter turns the DC power to AC power. The AC power is all tied together and tied into the main electrical panel of the home. The other part, we've got the panels, the microinverter. The third part are the rails. So there's actually metal rails that are attached to the trusses of the roof of the home. They go through the shingles, if it's a shingled roof, and attached to the trusses of the home. But everything is sealed with roof sealant that has a 20-year warranty. So it's protected against leaks and different things of that nature. Since the panels are outside, it's protected against the weather that it'll be exposed to. The panels are then attached to those metal rails, so everything is really secure. It's attached directly to the trusses of the home. You'll also want to educate the homeowner on net metering. Net metering is really what makes solar possible without batteries. It's the process that basically allows you to treat the utility company like a battery. We've mentioned that the bulk of the consumption comes in the summer months because you're running air conditioning, but also the bulk of the production from the solar array will come from the summer months because we get more sun. So any excess power that you generate will actually be sent back to the utility company, and they will give you what's called a kilowatt hour credit. So it's electricity that you've already produced but haven't yet consumed. This kilowatt hour credit is what's used at night, on rainy days, on snowy days, in the winter. Basically you build up this big bank in the summer months, and then you use your kilowatt hour credits during the winter months. And again, we're looking at a year's average, so we're looking at 12 months. So we're going to size the array, that including net metering, including this overproduction that comes in the summer months. If you look at a 1 year time span, you're looking at about 90% replacement of the consumption. One of the main questions that homeowners ask is, do I need batteries? And net metering enables the homeowner to install solar without batteries. Basically, you're treating the utility company like a battery. You're sending them the excess power, and then they store it for you when you need it. Now we're going to ask the homeowner a couple different questions about their solar array. The first being what color they want. Really, the only difference between blue and black panels is the aesthetics. The technology is the same, but some people just don't like the look of blue panels, so that's why we offer a black panel. A lot of people say, I have a black roof, I want a black solar panel with black rails and black solar cells, so that's why we give them these two options. You'll note here, though, that black panels do add about 10% to the total system cost. So if they're looking for the absolute lowest payment, you're going to want to stick with blue. If they care a little bit more about the aesthetics and think that the black panels look a little better, again, some people think the blue panels look better. It's just up to the homeowner. You can present them with this option. So in this case, we'll say that they're fine with blue panels. And then we've got this little box here that says System Size Adjustment. It'll actually be easier if we go forward a few slides and then come back to this. We're just going to leave it as is right now. Again, we've come to another script that you can just read word for word to the homeowner. We're into the fourth and final part of the Evolar process, and that is the savings. This is, in my opinion, the most important. This is where we wrap everything into one complete solution. Our goal, again, is to try and get that new cost of power less than what they're currently paying. You'll see a couple bullet points here. You'll see real-time monitoring. With the Nest installation, if they don't already have a Nest, they'll be able to control their thermostat with an app. The solar array as well will come with an app where they can see real-time what their system is producing. They can see historically by week, by month, by year, how much their panels are producing. and everything has a 25-year warranty. The solar panels have a 25-year production warranty, and the microinverters have a 25-year product warranty. So you can say with confidence to the homeowner that their solar array is warranted for 25 years. There's no moving parts to anything, and there's really no maintenance. Their solar array will basically take care of itself. Although the warranty is 25 years, the useful life of a solar array is well over 40 years. So we're going to show all the savings projections for 25 years, which is the warranty life of the system. But again, you can tell the homeowner that the components are manufactured to last much longer. Now here's the fun part. Here's where it's taken everything that we've put in and it's going to compare what they're currently paying to what the Evolar solution can do for them. So as you can see, the current cost of power, in this case, the homeowner's paying $196 a month. They're paying it straight to the utility company. You can never prepay a power bill, so their payments are going to be forever. There's going to be rate increases every year, and they don't own anything. They're basically just renting the power from the utility company. Here we have a little graph that shows what their monthly payment will do over time if they just simply do nothing, if they just keep paying power the way they've been paying power. With the Evolar solution, we can see that instantly we can lower their cost of power by $26. So they're going to go from a $196 a month payment to a $170 a month payment. In this option, there's no money down. So it's not $170 plus some money down towards the system. This is a zero down option, instantly going from $196 to $170. This becomes a new fixed cost of power. So as utility rates go up, they're unaffected by it because they're producing their own power. And they actually own something. They're owning an asset that's on their roof, so the property value of the home will actually go up. Now, as you can see right here, we're looking at 90% power replacement. We mentioned this in the net metering section. We're sizing the solar array to eliminate 90% of their historical consumption. So a common question is, well, why not just 100%? And the reason we don't shoot for 100% or more than 100% is because after 1 year, if there are any unused kilowatt hour credits, meaning let's say over the course of a year you used 10,000 kilowatt hours, but you produced 11,000 kilowatt hour credits, the utility company will actually take any excess credits that you have and not give you anything for them. So there's no benefit to overproducing. So that's why we estimated at 90%. Again, there's a little bit of a margin of error there, where it could be a little bit more or a little bit less than 90% in a given year. But we've sized it so that they don't run the risk of overproducing and giving the utility company free power. Now, you'll have homeowners that say, well, I just bought an electric car, I'm planning to buy a sauna, or the other way around, I just had kids move out of the house. I anticipate my power needs changing. So we're going to go back to the tab number 9 here, color and size. So this is where there's system size adjustment. Now again, if you just leave it the way it is, it's sized for 90% replacement. But let's say someone's planning on buying an electric car and they say, you know what, I think my power bill is going to go up about 30%. Here you can actually add more panels in increments of 10 or 20 or 30%, or you can actually take away more panels, 10, 20, 30, 40%, and so on. So let's say in this case, they anticipate their power usage, they anticipate their power needs going up by 30%. We've actually added 30% more panels. So when we go to this new cost tab, as you can see, it's more than what they're currently paying, but we're estimating 120% power replacement as opposed to 90% power replacement. So we're absolutely saying, yes, we're planning on overproducing. Let's take another scenario where the homeowner anticipates their usage going down. Let's say they just had a son or a daughter move out, go to college, and they anticipate it dropping about 10%. Let's go back to the new cost. As you can see, it's a lot less now, but we're only looking at an estimated 80% power replacement. Again, this isn't going to be every scenario. Pretty standard. The default is just to look at 90% power replacement, but you do have this option if someone brings that up that you can adjust the system size as needed. So we'll go back here. We'll leave it just to default. We'll go back to our new cost tab, and again, you can see $196 going down to $170 a month, and that's 90% power replacement. So we'll go on to the next slide. And this is where it gives a summary of everything that we've talked about. So this says how many solar panels they'll need. In this case, it's going to be a 32 solar panel system. System size, we're going to be using 250 watt panels, so 32 times 0.25 gets us 8 kilowatts. Again, we're looking at a Nest installation since they didn't have one, and they have approximately 50 lights in the home, so we're going to give them 50 LED lighting credits to upgrade 50 of those lights to LED. Here's where we actually talk about some of the costs. Again, these aren't costs that the homeowner is responsible for, but we do need to disclose them and tell them, just exactly what our assumptions are and how we're going to present the solution to them. So before any of the incentives, the total cost is $36,850. They're going to get a 30% federal tax credit back, so that ends up being just a little over $11,000. And they're going to get a $2,000 state tax credit from the state of Utah. So that's over $13,000 that's coming off this system. So the after incentive amount is going to be $23,795. Now, we do need to tell the homeowner that in order to claim these tax credits, they need to owe taxes. You'll run into people that, for whatever reason, aren't working and don't have any tax liability. They don't owe any taxes in a given year. This could also be retired people. Maybe are in a situation where they're not owing any taxes either. So what we're saying here is this homeowner needs to owe at least $11,000 in federal taxes in order to claim all the tax credits, and $2,000 in state tax credits to claim that full $2,000 amount. This becomes really important when we look at our financing options and exactly how we're going to drop their cost of power once we get onto another slide. But you just want to kind of prep the homeowner and say, hey, we are assuming that you owe $11,000 in federal taxes and $2,000 in state taxes. Here's another chance for you to calculate potential system size. Now that we know that it's going to be a 32 panel system, that could be another kind of barrier if they simply don't have the roof space. So we're going to open up the window here, and it's going to take us to a great resource where we can actually punch in their address. So we'll punch in this address again. Click Find. And you can see, just as we saw on the Google map, here's the home. We'll zoom in. And we can actually draw our solar array. So we've selected this nice south-facing roof as our most ideal roof face. So we're actually going to draw the solar array. So we're just going to click on all the edges of this roof face. And then we're going to double-click to close that last line. If we go over to Calculations, you can see the total square area of the roof face that we've selected, and also this little slider that says usable roof percentage. Maybe they have a chimney, maybe they have some obstruction where only a portion of the roof is available. In this case, the roof is free of any obstruction, so we're going to say 100% of the roof face is usable for solar. The most important thing here is this potential system size. So this means that if we used 100% of this roof face, we could fit a maximum of a 17.4 kilowatt system. Let's click back to our app here, our calculator. Well, we're only needing an 8 kilowatt system, so we have more than double the available space. So that's not going to be an issue. There is a site survey before the solar panels are installed. So there are instances where maybe you've sized the solar array, and it's typically the bigger systems where maybe it's a 14, 15, 16 kilowatt system, and there's a chance that not all those panels are going to fit on the roof. This gives you a chance, even before the site survey, to just double check the findings, to click here, plug in the address, calculate the potential system size, and just make sure that there's enough room for the solar panels. If for whatever reason you find that maybe it is a pretty small home, there isn't a lot of roof face, or they just need a really big solar array to replace their consumption, you can always go back to this tab number 9 and you can adjust the system size. You can drop it down if you just know straight out of the gate that we've sized a system that won't fit on the roof. In this case, there's plenty of roof space to fit all 32 panels, so we're good there, and we'll click on to the next tab. Now we do have two different financing options. If they want the absolute lowest payment, there's a 20-year 5.99% loan. So this is what takes this net amount, this after incentive amount, and we're going to spread that cost over a period of time. So the absolute lowest payment is a 20-year option. That's what drops their payment down to $170. And again, 90% of their current power bill goes away completely. Or if they want to cut 8 years off that term and are okay paying a little bit more for power, we have a 12-year 2.99% option. In this case, they were paying $196 a month for power. The 12-year option, which again is replacing 90% of that $196, gives them a new payment of $197, so $1 more. So in this case, we're going to say, yeah, they're fine with a little bit more of a power bill, knowing that they're going to pay it off in 12 years. And then years 13 through at least year 25, they own the system outright, so they don't have this $197 payment anymore. And they're producing 90% of their own power, so they really don't owe the utility company for very much of their power. So we're going to select the 12-year and then click Next. And this page takes everything that we've talked about and compiles it into one sheet that the homeowner can see. So we can see the name here, see their contact information and address. Your name as the rep will be here, and the bid is valid for 2 weeks. We've got a side-by-side comparison of their current situation, the cost of doing nothing as we call it. Payments are forever. There's rate increases every year. Currently they're paying $196 a month, and that'll just continue to go up year after year. We've estimated, if you look over here, a 6% annual increase in the power bill, which means that at year 25 they will have paid over $135,000 for power. The Evolar solution, which is again a zero-down solar ownership option with an unsecured 12-year loan. Now, unsecured just means that there's no lien on the home. This isn't the second mortgage, and there's no lien on the panels. So if they miss a payment, they can't go repossess their home. They can't go repossess the panels. Basically, this is a loan that's offered just on a credit score that is approved and income that the bank feels comfortable lending this money to the homeowner. And we'll talk about that more in the next page. With this 12-year option, the Evolar solution is $197, so again, $1 more than what they're currently paying. And if you look after 25 years, they will have paid just under $42,000 for power. So comparing this $135 to this under $42, they'll have saved nearly $94,000 after 25 years. We've got another summary of all the system details. This is an 8 kilowatt system. They opted for the blue panels, which means 32 panels, and then a breakdown of the before incentive amount, the federal tax credit, and the state tax credit. What we're left with is this net amount, which again is financed over 12 years at 2.99%, giving them a new payment of $197. We have a summary of the energy upgrades, 1 Nest installation, and 50 LED lighting credits. And we also have a summary of their usage. They're using 1,500 kilowatt hours a month. We're assuming that 70% of that will be replaced by solar panels, and 20% of that will be replaced by their Nest installation and their LED lighting. And that's what gives them a total replacement of 90% of their electricity consumption. Additional benefits, you'll see we've added over $30,000 to the home. A lot of people have the question, well, what if I move? Now, if you look, they've already claimed the incentives. So the actual amount that's financed over 12 years is under $24,000. So the day the system goes live, they've added more to their home value than what's being financed. So they can install the solar array today and sell the home tomorrow. That'd still come out ahead by more than $7,000. The system is warranted for 25 years, I've already mentioned that, and monitoring. They'll be able to see the real-time output of their system. And I joke with people, after talking so much about all the financial benefits, we haven't even mentioned that they're helping save the world. You can see that the environmental benefits, they've actually helped to take over 22 cars off the road. The same environmental impact as taking 22 cars off the road. So here's where you can actually email this bid to the customer. So we're going to click this button here. It's going to compile everything. And you'll see this little pop-up. Click download above the email bid button to finish sending email. We'll click OK and then click this download button. It'll open up a new window and just compile this bid in a PDF. So it's generating the PDF right now. And then we'll actually send it to the customer's email address that you entered in on the second page. You can also email this bid to yourself. So we're going to click the second button here. We'll see the same pop-up. We'll click OK and then click download again. Same thing, pop up in a new window. It'll actually generate the bid, so you just need to wait for a minute as it compiles the PDF. And then it will actually send the PDF, the bid, the same that the customer just got, to you, to the email that you entered in that second page. Now the really cool thing about this is completely paperless. So you've actually just sent this bid to the customer's inbox. The bid will actually come from your email that you entered in the second page. So they can reply to that email with the bid, and it'll go directly to you if they have a follow-up question. It will also include your name and your phone number in the signature of the email. So their phone number will be right there when they get the bid. So if they have any questions, they can call or text you right there from the email that they get. The Evolar home office will also get this information, so we can actually send them little reminders and little updates to follow up with you regarding the bid that they received. So we'll click next here, and then this is where we actually get them approved for financing. We have a fantastic financing partner that offers these solar-specific loans, and they have a 1-800 number where you can call in about 15 to 20 minutes, get a financing decision right there with the homeowner. There's no appraisal needed for the home. Basically, it's just a credit check, and they'll ask the homeowner some income questions. Very generous call-in hours, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. So if you're meeting in the evenings with people, so long as it's not past 10 o'clock, there'll be someone at our financing partner answering the phone and being able to get that credit decision while you're there with the homeowner. So again, we've already mentioned some of these tax credits. We've assumed that they're going to be able to claim all these tax credits, and this is where it becomes important. And this is actually the most complicated part of the bid, is just making sure that they can claim all these tax credits with the way we're going to finance and present the solution to them. So we've got the total financed amount, we've got the 12-year 2.99% amount, and then here's the amount that's going to come back in tax credits. Now, very interesting here, we're actually going to do another loan. You can see here, this is a 12-month, no interest, and no payment loan. So basically, it's going to be a tax anticipation loan. We're assuming they're going to get dollar for dollar that tax credit back. And so what we're going to do is just match up a loan that says, okay, great, you're going to get $13,000 back come April when you file your taxes. So we're going to put a loan out for $13,000, and there's no interest and no payment during that 12-month period. So basically, the homeowner receives that $13,000 back in a tax credit. That instantly goes to pay off the loan. So long as they've done it within a 12-month window, there's no interest. What they're left with is that after incentive amount, which again gave them that new cost of power. So there's a few things you'll want to mention to the homeowner here. Let's say they don't quite have the tax liability. Let's say, in this example, $11,000 we're assuming is coming back in a federal tax credit. Let's say they only have a tax liability of $9,000. They only owe $9,000 in a given year. What happens to that extra $2,000? They'll still get that tax credit, but they just can't claim it all in that first year. Any tax credits that can't be claimed in the first year are carried forward to the following year. So again, that's why it's really important, especially when we're assuming that all of the tax credits are going to come back, and we're actually putting a loan out, assuming that we'll just pay off that loan with whatever's coming back. We want to make sure they can claim all those tax credits in this first year. If they have any questions, encourage them to speak with whoever prepares their taxes. Any CPA, any tax preparer should be acquainted with how solar tax credits work. If you look in the resources section, we actually have the tax credit IRS form. You can show that to them. We really want to make sure that they can claim those tax credits, so we're not putting a loan out for more than what they're actually going to get back in tax credits. A common question is, well, what if I install the system in January and I need to wait till the following April to file the taxes? Well, that's a great question. That 12-month window isn't going to be long enough. So we actually have a different loan option for that scenario. In the last month of the year, December, and in the first 4 months of the year, January, February, March, and April, if you log in and generate a bid for someone, this won't say 12 months, no interest, no payment. This will actually say 18 months, no interest, and no payment. So systems that are sold in December, January, February, March, and the first part of April will actually get a longer window since it's going to take them longer to claim those tax credits, do their taxes, file the paperwork, and get those tax credits back. This isn't something that you need to worry about and calculate. We have a timestamp on when you log into the app. So this is something that the app takes care of automatically. It knows when you log in, it knows what month it is, and it will actually show you what the best loan option is depending on when you log in. All you need to worry about when you call in is giving this information to the financing partner. So you'll call this number, making sure that you're calling within hours. You'll give the Evolar dealer number 12435. You'll tell them how much will be financed, the total amount, and then you'll give them the breakdown. How much will go on the 12-year in this case, or the 20-year, and how much will go on the 12-month or the 18-month, whatever the app says at the time. And then you'll pass the phone to the homeowner. The financing partner will then ask the homeowner a few questions. They'll ask for their driver's license number, they'll ask for their social security number, and they'll ask some income questions. Because of the sensitive nature of some of this information, we recommend you at least offer to step out of the room if the customer feels more comfortable while they're talking to the financing partner so that you don't overhear this information. Once the financing partner has that information, they'll actually come back with a credit decision in about 15 to 20 minutes. We don't try to pre-qualify customers, but as a general guideline, our financing partner will go down as low as FICO scores of 650 with income as low as $40,000 or $50,000 a year. But again, this is best left to the financing partner. Your job is just to initiate the call, tell the financing partner these 4 pieces of information, and then hand the phone over to the customer so that they can give the financing partner the rest of the information. After the financing call is made and the credit decision comes back, assuming that there's an approval, the financing partner will actually give 2 loan reference numbers. Now, it's really important that you write these down, or that the customer writes these down, because you've got a spot here where you're actually going to enter them. So again, we're doing 2 different loans, so you'll get 2 different loan reference numbers. We'll assume that there's an approval here, and we'll enter the first loan reference number for the 12-year 2.99%, and then we'll enter the loan approval number for the 12-month no interest, no payment. Now, this is the most important step in the entire app. Once you have entered in these loan reference numbers, you'll see in big all caps, click here upon financing approval. We're going to assume that this homeowner got approved. We've entered in the loan reference numbers. We must click this button. What this does is tell the Evolar home office that a financing approval has been made so that we too can monitor the customer's progress. This is what we will use as they go through the installation process, and so that they can be updated as well. We're going to click next now, and there's a few documents that we're going to electronically sign with the customer. The first being the Evolar customer purchase contract. So you can see we click right here. It's going to open up a new window. And there's going to be some fields for you to enter in with the customer. If we go back to our other tab, there's 5 pieces of information. We need to make sure we enter in the name of the customer correctly. The description of the system, which means number of panels. In this case, it's 32, and the panel color, blue. We're also going to enter in the system size. In this case, it's 8. There's a few check boxes here. The first is that it's a grid tie system. We're going to check this box, and we're also going to check that they want to participate in the federal and state tax credits. And there's a spot for you to add any other notes that we should see as the home office. You're also going to check this box since the customer has sought out third-party financing for the system. And the last box to fill in is the purchase price, which in this case is $36,850. Now that you've entered in these boxes with the customer, we're going to actually have them sign. The first step is to double-click on their name and have the customer type out their name. And the customer will also enter in their email. Have the customer click this box that says they agree to the terms and apply the signature. As you can see, it's also added initials on the very last page of the customer purchase contract. This is what we call full disclosure. This again runs the customer through all the assumptions that we have included. How much sun we're projecting, what the output of the system will be, how much we're assuming they'll get in savings from the Nest installation, from the LED lighting, everything that we've talked about throughout the app in physical writing so that the customer can see it all in one place. After they've electronically signed this document, you'll click Next, and it will go back to the signature field where it will generate an electronic signature, and you'll have the customer click Apply Signature. The last step is clicking Finalize and Submit. You'll see a thank you page, and you'll also see text saying there's other signers needed to complete this document. What that means is the Evolar Home Office also needs to review this customer purchase contract. The Home Office will review that everything has been entered in correctly. Again, that's why it's so important that when you're going through this app, you enter in the correct information as far as where the roof is facing, what year the home was built, what the pitch of the roof is, and just make sure that every step along the way you've entered in accurate information. If everything's been entered in correctly, then the Evolar Home Office will sign it and the customer will get a copy of the full executed agreement. If for whatever reason information was entered in incorrectly, a revised copy will then have to go out to the homeowner as well as you as the rep, just to make sure that we have accurate information for the homeowner. Once they've signed the document, you can close this tab and go on to step number 2, which is to sign the net metering agreement. This is what's used during the installation process to submit to the utility company saying, we're now going to be a solar customer. When solar is installed, there's actually a new meter placed on the home. In a traditional home, the meter just spins one way, and it spins according to how much usage there is in the home. In a solar home, a net meter is installed so that when the panels are producing energy, the meter will actually spin backwards. This agreement is what is used to go through that process to get the customer on a net metering schedule with the utility company. So we'll click here. And there's only one place for the customer to sign. If it's the Rocky Mountain Power Agreement, it's on page 16, where the customer will double click, entering in their name, title, and signature. Again, they click to agree and apply the signature, which will apply the signature not only on page 16, but also on page 19 of the document. All the other information on this net metering agreement is extremely technical, talking about specific outputs of the system and is designed to be handled by our installation team. So all the homeowner needs to do is sign the document, and all the technical information will be handled as the solar system goes through the net metering process. Have the homeowner click Finalize and Submit, and you can see the executed copy of the net metering agreement, which is also submitted to the Evolar Home Office. You can close this browser and move on to the next page. Since there is a third-party loan being used to finance this system, the customer also needs to sign documents with the bank. As you can see here, it's another e-signature. So if we click here, it's going to open up a new browser and take us to the bank's homepage. Right on the homepage, there's a button, Sign Your Loan Documents. If we click on this button, we're going to see another link, Easy Sign Your Loan Documents. We're going to enter in the loan number, which is found on this page from where we entered it in when there was the financing approval. So we can actually just copy and paste this loan number, and then have the homeowner enter the last 4 digits of their phone number and their date of birth. There's also a CAPTCHA that they'll need to enter, and then they'll click Submit. This portal will then walk the homeowner through all the loan documents necessary to complete the financing of their solar array. Once they've gone through on the first loan, they'll need to go back and repeat the process again for the second loan. If the computer or tablet you are using has cookies enabled, you'll want to clear the cache before you enter in the second loan number so that it can pull up the second set of loan documents. Once both loan documents are signed, you can close this window and move on to step number 4. And this is where we obtain income verification documents from the homeowner. If both a husband and wife were co-applicants during this process, both homeowners will need to sign the loan documents, and both homeowners will need to have the following income verification documents. If the homeowner is a regular W-2 or 1099 employee, then the bank wants to see a pay stub within the last 30 days and a W-2 or a 1099 from last year. They just want to see tax information proving the income that they reported when the bank made the financing decision. If the homeowner is self-employed, the bank wants to see taxes from last year, all schedules, a year-to-date profit-loss statement, and if the business is an S-Corp or a partnership, a K-1. If the homeowner is retired, the bank wants to see an awards letter from their retirement plan, or an SSA 1099, and or a 1099-R. If any rental income was used during the financing call, the bank wants to see legal signed lease agreements for each property. And this is not just a monthly statement, this is actually the binding lease agreement. Once you've obtained these documents, using our tool JotNot, which can be found on our Resources tab in the REP dashboard, these documents should be submitted to office@evolar.com. Once you've obtained and submitted these documents for the borrower, click Next. On this page, you'll see the last 2 steps of the Evolar app. The first is a preliminary site survey. This is where you, as the rep, can take pictures of the roof, their main electrical panel, their service meter outside, and if it's safe and accessible, their attic. This helps our installation team build a preliminary solar array and match up these pictures with the information that was submitted through the app. These pictures can be submitted to office@evolar.com, with the customer's name in the subject line. The last step is to build the lighting kit. In this scenario, we've given the customer a lighting credit of 50 lights. So we're going to click this link, open up a new window, enter in the customer name, the rep name, and how many lighting credits they have. Then we'll click Next. Here are all the possible lights that they can use to replace their current lights in their home. As you can see, there's a running tally of how many credits they have left, and lights with a little star count as 2. The wattage listed here are equivalents. LEDs use a lot less wattage than what is listed here. A standard soft white bulb is ideal for living rooms, dining rooms, and bedrooms. Daylight bulbs give off more of a blue color and are ideal for utility and laundry rooms, security, and garages. Have the homeowner enter in how many of each light they want. We also offer flood lights, vanity lights for bathrooms, decorative lights that are candle lights in 2 different sizes. One with a smaller base for chandeliers, and one with a larger base, a standard base, for lamps and other outdoor lighting. Finally, we offer linear or fluorescent lights as LEDs. These are 4 feet in length and typically are installed in groups of 2, 4, or 8. We're going to enter in a sample lighting kit. Checking to make sure we haven't used more credits than are available. Once we have used up all our credits, we will see the credit count go to 0. We'll scroll down to the bottom and click Submit. Congratulations! You have taken someone completely through the Evolar Solar Savings app. Welcome to the Evolar team, and best of luck to you as you help homeowners lower their monthly cost of power with the Evolar solution.